Okay, so this Robert F. Kennedy Jr. case. Now, I don't know what legislation these ballot access lawyers are going by, but I don't think they're very good, and I would suggest that they're probably on the same kind of wavelength or level as Jeremy Johnson KC was with Lord Hangfield case. You know, he's meant to be like an expert barrister. He was meant to be like one of the best in the country in that field, but he didn't do it right, the Lord Hangfield thing. So this American lawyer, I don't think that he fully understands the framework, regardless of what acts they're going by, because you've got this. What we've got here is this IRS. It's 501c3, which I already knew about this, right? Mainly for tax-exempt organisations, but every citizens, right? Citizens don't pay tax when they go to vote, right? Mainly because it's free. And, you know, there's certain tax bans for political materials. When you are organising yourself, organisation, when you are self-organising, right, and you're acting in election matters, it's certain tax bans and exemptions, right? Because you're not going to play baseball, or you're not going on holiday, or you're not, you know, buying yourself a fridge or a cooker or a car, right? So when you're voting and going to vote or signing petitions and anything like that, you yourself, when you do them, you're in an exempt tax band anyway, right? So when you're signing petitions or going to vote, right, it's not like taxable, is it? Now, this is called a restriction of political campaign intervention. If there ever was something, well, there is, and it's on IRS. Now, IRS is federal. It's all of America. It's not just like one state like New York or Kentucky or whatever. It's the whole of America IRS. You know, it's the IRS, right? This is federal. And it's restriction on political campaign interventions. You can't intervene in campaigns in any way, shape, or form, right? Once you understand the context of all the terminology and everything, it literally means that. It means that no one within their, with respect to persons or conscience, or they can't direct actions or direct activities that would intervene in or cause intervention in a political campaign, right? Stop its progress or prevent it from continuing, or going about its motions, right? Now, what you've got in America is this culture where they like suing each other and stuff, and they do this for copyright as well. They've even tried to prosecute or sue people who are running in elections using copyrighted material, which in England you can't do that because it's. I found it's in one of the very, very early Copyright Acts. Anything to do with anything in connection with Parliament at all, with complete and total free speech and right to copy stuff and present in public. Now, I've highlighted this wording, right, because this covers tax as well, but also any activities that you're doing. A legal case, legal cases and paying lawyers to act for you, lawyers when you hire a barrister or a lawyer, right, it's taxed, right? So hiring a lawyer and paying a lawyer to act for you in opposition to a campaign, you are entering, you're using funds and money, right, which IRS take tax for, right, for a barrister or a lawyer for litigation, right, or whatever, and you're directing against the campaign. Now the thing is this, right? Try and imagine this, right? I've been doing like the right to petition and protection from criminal liability in England, but not civil liability. So it says in the 1689 Claim of Right, can be sued if you damage people's stuff, right? But not criminally. Just like MPs can be prosecuted in between Parliament sessions. But listen, right? So let's say you've got this political campaign with Robert F. Kennedy Jr., right? Now, if Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his campaign are defrauding the public or lying or giving false information, then the police need to act. Now, whether or not in America the police may or may not be able to act, because in England we have the Electoral Commission and we have these election petitions. The police can't actually take material. I think the police went round to see one of the Lib Dem campaigns in North Yorkshire, I think, because of something done on the green, about something said or done about the Green Party on their material. But it's all meant to be done afterwards. The whole thing's meant to progress, and anything that is done wrong or whatever, or reported to be cheating or anything, is recorded, and then afterwards it is investigated, and then a judge can declare that someone didn't win because the other person cheated. But you can't. You're not meant to disrupt or intervene in the process while it's doing it, but it can be tried or have action against it afterwards, but by the government. Note that it's the government. Now, the government are meant to be impartial, right? Because government can't actually act for or against any campaign unless they're doing their own campaign, but not when they're representing as the government, right? So, I mean, the courts are meant to be impartial and not have bias, and the government and the prosecutor, they're all meant to be completely and totally impartial, right? If something's been reported illegal or against the rules. But as for civil, right? So, try imagine this, right? If Robert F. Kennedy Jr., right, did something to one of the people that was signing the petitions or the public in respect of his campaign, or even if they deceived them, then the person has the right to civil suit. But this is for monies or damages or loss, right? If Robert F. Kennedy Jr. wrote their name down on the petition or whatever and faked it, that's fraud, and that's a matter for the police, right? And I don't know whether they prosecute after the petition is over or not. But if it's, a crime's a crime. But what these people are doing, they're bringing their own independent civil action. The state is meant to manage. Elections, petitions and referendums is meant to be state managed, right? Which means that it's impartially moderated and run by the government, and anything done is reported to them, which is why they have an electoral commission, right? You're not meant to take in. I mean, you can report something if they've done something wrong. You've reported it, right? But it's the government who bring the motion. If you've got damages or something like that and you're going to pay for money, fair enough. But if you sued Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for damages, right, monies, right, you're not intervening in his campaign. You're not saying he can't be on the ballot or he's not allowed to collect signatures or this whole thing for getting him off the ballot or his campaign can't continue. I mean, Joe Biden was kind of doing that by not giving him protection. It was sapping his money, but he wasn't apparently they are trying to do these cheating processes to try and make it very, very difficult to get on the ballot and very difficult to get the signatures, but they're not allowed to intervene in his operations or anything like that. So if a civil person or group or whatever sued for money and they had to pay money, that is not itself preventing them from getting on a ballot or collecting signatures or participating or proceeding with the election, right? That's important. So you could do a civil action, if you say that, they damaged something or they owe them money, or even, take my signature off and make them take the signature off if they didn't take it off. When you say you didn't, if you were misled for signing it, then you have to take it off. But no one can intervene in the campaign. And this case, in this court, he wasn't prosecuted with an offence. He wasn't prosecuted with a crime. And this other group, they weren't just suing for money, for damages. They were actually doing an injunction, an intervention against him, which was trying to, its objective was say that, his address is false, so he's not allowed to be on the ballot. Now, I know that they've got all these particular rules that addresses have got to be correct and blah, 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 but the main primary reason that you've got to have an address is so you can be contacted, it's not like proving who you are, because your passport and driving license, if legitimate, prove who you are anyway, right? But the thing is that in this law we've got in front of us here, this applies to all of America, all 50 states, right? It actually says, right, that organisations, and listen to the words here, an organisation, that means anything that's organised, right? Organisation, you can organise everyone to go litter picking, right? And you've got a body of people who are a group who are now being organised to go litter picking, right? Right? Now, this Clear Choice place that apparently are behind these legal cases or helped them with it or either funded it or done some orchestrating behind it, organising behind it, right? They're an organisation and they're affiliated with the Democrats, the opposition to Robert F. Kennedy. And they've got these litigants, group of litigants, a body of people. There's not just one litigant, right? It's not just a citizen acting, disgruntled citizen. They've got a group or body of people together, and they have organised themselves to bring a legal case with this Clear Choice place as organised as citizens with a Democrat affiliation. And its objective and goal is not just to sue RFK Jr. for money or damages, right, which is civil. It seeks to stop him getting on the ballot in the state, or prove that he's broke a rule so he can't be on the ballot, or prove that his address is not legitimate. That is an object. There's a purpose there. There's an intention and purpose to disrupt or stop or prevent his election activities. Now, that's actually, in America, it's illegal to do that. You can't do it. And further, the Clear Choice is like an organisation, a body. The citizens are private persons acting in a electoral civil capacity as citizens. Now, if there's a crime or an offence, the police are meant to act impartially and investigate it. Now, if you report a crime to the police in America, the police aren't allowed to be for or against any campaign. They've got to be impartial. So when the police investigated it, they would be impartial, right? The civil case, if it was just for monies, right, it wouldn't be with an objective or goal to stop, hinder, disrupt, or prevent the progress of the campaign, right? It would just be after seeking money, right? Now, the thing is, they're bringing a action, which I'm guessing it's a civil action, because he hasn't been prosecuted, I know that's for sure. But its objective is to prevent, stop, or halt the campaign from progressing, which is illegal. It's unlawful because these persons, they're not the police. The police are impartial, right? The government's meant to be impartial. This is the whole thing with Biden. The president is meant to be impartial when he's in office. Kamala Harris is meant to be impartial when she's in office. The whole government staff are meant to be impartial when they're in office. But what we've got is they're all acting really illegally because they're all kind of like trying to, stop the Kennedy or whatever. Although I think a lot of them have stepped down now. I think a lot of them are leaving the positions. It's a little bit like this whole Rachel Reeves thing. She's still putting adverts out now while she's the Chancellor. Some local councils are trying to persuade electors and citizens to try and support or vote, go along with their projects and campaigns when they're not allowed to influence them. So the government is meant to be impartial. I mean, the government can't say, "I'm not going to empty a dustbin because you're a Republican." Right? If the government say, "I'm not emptying your bins because you're a Republican," this is like, they're meant to be impartial. So if there's a crime, really, the police are employed to be impartial and say, "Okay, Mr. Kennedy, we've had a report that you've done a crime, and now we've got to investigate, see if you have committed fraud or not, impartially, right? Okay. Now, these citizens will be voting in the election. They're not acting impartially, right? They're actually acting, and when they're actually bringing a legal motion, which its intention is to stop or prevent the campaign, that is acting against the campaign, because the campaign, Robert F. Kennedy, have to defend against it. It's in the words defence. When you're defending something, someone's coming for you, coming towards you. They're coming towards you, coming for you, having to defend. So they're taking action against you. It says in this that you're not allowed to have anyone act against you. I don't think it can be a legal case, because in order to have a legal case against someone, who's bringing the case? To be in a legal case or have the outcome of a legal case, someone had to raise it and bring it. To raise and bring the legal case, you need an individual or a group of individuals or a body of individuals or an organisation who intend a motion or action which is objective or pursuit is to fail the defendant, stop them on the campaign. They can't do that. That's illegal. If they were just trying to sue them for some money, that's not illegal, because suing them for money, just, you have to pay me, $1,000. You're not preventing the campaign, right? If the police investigate it, the police are impartial. A person who is bringing a civil action, right, against a defendant is not impartial, because the legal case is against Kennedy. Do you understand? The legal case these litigants are bringing is against Robert F. Kennedy, right? It's like the Privy Council oath. The Privy Council oath is that they're not allowed to oppose the king. The king can do no wrong, and they can't even understand, imagine, or envision him doing anything wrong. Nothing he does can be even interpreted as being wrong. So all of the Privy Council around the king are almost kind of like a political party, in a way that they're absolutely and completely aligned with the king, right, in law. And then you've got the rest of the House of Lords who don't have to take that oath, but they've still got an oath like members of Parliament take. The members of Parliament oath is allegiance, but it's different to the Privy Council oath. So the private citizens, right, who have got, they can vote either way in the election. They're going against Kennedy's campaign, not just at the ballot box, but through the courts. But they can't actually do that, because the police aren't against Kennedy, right? They're meant to be impartial. They investigate or look at something. But in this country, an election petition and how they go about getting evidence is different proceedings to the criminal procedure rules anyway. And it's kind of like it's its own thing. But it says anyway, organisations are absolutely prohibited. Organisations, and don't just think of the RSPCA or Bupa or something like that. Anything that is orchestrated, organised, planned, they've got many people doing different things, right? If you're cleaning a park up, you have to get people organised. When you use that word, right? Okay, like, let's get organised, family. We're going on a family camping trip. Let's get organised, right? If we're not organised, we can't go on a camping trip. So, kids, you go pack the car. Mum will go clean up. I'll, put the roof rack on. We'll get the tent. And then, check you've got all your things and that, right? Let's get organised, right? You have to get organised. It's like this Clear Choice place, right? We're Clear Choice. We're affiliated with the Democrats, and we've got some litigants here who are up for taking RF Kennedy on and maybe even trying to stop him from getting on this ballot, and now we're going to organise ourselves and bring this legal case, right? with the intention of, trying to prove that, he can't be on the ballot. So the intention is for Kennedy not to be able to continue his campaign. That's illegal. If they were going to say, right, Kennedy's done this or that, and, we want to sue him for some money, fair enough. Or if they think that he has defrauded them, then ring the police. But what they're actually doing is they're acting as non-impartial persons, groups, entities, organisations, and they're acting against Robert F. Kennedy through the courts with an outcome to prevent him getting on the ballot, which you can. Organisations are absolutely prohibited from directly or indirectly participating in or intervening in any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate for elective public office, right? So you're not allowed to intervene, right? If you organise, it's this clear choice place. The Democrats who are they're not impartial, they're an opposition organisation, and they are organising this clear choice and some citizens into a group, a body. That's also an organisation, a body of litigation, so they can go to court. And the outcome of it is going to intervene in the proceedings, right? Absolutely prohibited from directly or indirectly. Well, this is the thing. Clear choice are indirectly doing it, but the Democrats are also indirectly doing it. Because the Democrats are known and have been reported in the newspapers to be affiliated with. Now, if they've been affiliated with this clear choice place and the Democrats, you see the litigants, the plaintiffs, are directly bringing the case, but it's been organised and orchestrated indirectly, right, by this clear choice place and the Democrats. So it's like a group effort, directly or indirectly. So they're involved in it. They're an organisation who is acting in connection with these litigants who themselves are organising themselves. Absolutely prohibited from directly or indirectly participating in, or, remember the word or, because, or intervening in. Well, we've got some citizens, and this clear choice has organised them to bring this legal case and assisted them to bring this legal case, which is intervening in the campaign. It says any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition. Well, they're in opposition because what is the opposition? It doesn't just mean like opposition when you're voting or opposition when you're signing or not signing. Opposition means anything which is opposed to what they are doing. Well, if you are acting to try and get Robert F. Kennedy Jr. off the ballot so he can't get on the ballot, that is a form of opposition. You're opposing him in the courts, right? You are opposing him in the courts. You can oppose him on the street. You can oppose him on the highway. You can oppose him. The guy with the guns, the guy who shot Trump when he was doing his political rally, he was opposing Donald Trump, not only his campaign, but him personally and his whole campaign, because he was at a campaign rally, promoting the campaign. So he is the campaign. So the individual who shot Trump you won't agree, you won't say that he's an organisation, but he self-organised himself. You know, he wasn't connected with there weren't any groups or anything like that. But he acted in opposition to Trump, right? And he went and organised himself personally. He organised his equipment. He organised his targeting thing, and he went and measured the thing. So he himself had to be organised. In fact, I think he wasn't he? He was a registered publican. You know, it says here on behalf of or in opposition to. So I mean, it says that he registered as a Republican. So I mean, he might have been. You could say that he was representing as a Republican against Trump, even though Trump's a Republican, but a Republican against Trump. You know, he's registered as a Republican on file. He was registered as a Republican. So you could say that he's a member of the Republican organization on paper. On paper, if he was a member registered as Republican, then he surely on that card which registered with, he's part of the organization. Yet he was opposing Trump. You know, just because something's illegal, it's official, it's a legal case, it's a legal case, it's official legal proceedings. Yes, but the proceedings are against a political campaign. It says here that you're absolutely prohibited from directly or indirectly. It doesn't say what mode, doesn't say only if you're playing sports or in legal cases or anything. This is like absolute. This is like as in respect to the will. You know, as in respect to the orientation of the person, as in the people in these groups and organisations and bodies, in their minds, you know, they can't conduct themselves or act to fail or intervene, right, in any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate, right? Well, this Clear Channel or Clear View place, whatever it's called, they're known to be affiliated with Democrats. But even if they're not acting on behalf of Democrats, the fact is they're definitely not acting impartially. If you're impartial, you don't bring a civil private case. You know, police do bring cases against people, but the police are acting by legislation impartially, right? When you're doing it privately, you're not doing it privately impartially. You're not impartial when you're trying to sue someone for some money. You're not impartial when your objective is to fail them in their political campaign, because it doesn't matter. It's like your weapon of choice, you know. Should we go? You know, it's like Trump with a rifle, or you know, they could have done Trump with a legal case. They were doing legal cases against Trump. They've been throwing legal cases back and forwards against each other. Like there's that Hunter Biden case, and then there's even been Biden case. You know, a lot of these are politically motivated. For elective public office. So, you know, President of the United States of America, this being an IRS page, and like I said, you know, there's got to be some tax dollars involved in this Clear Channel place has got funding. How does that Clear Channel place exist? That Clear View or Clear Channel place has actually got funding to exist, and then it's been driving around, meeting with those citizens, and then, you know, he helped them to bring this case. So that is an organisation which is using taxpayer money for that purpose, for sure. And then they've got Democratic affiliations. The affiliations don't have to be direct. They can be indirect. So that means that, you know, Clear Channel don't have to be turning up at the court with those litigants in order to be an organisation that's assisting them. It can be indirect assistance, or even the Democrats, you know, kind of like, you know, speaking to them or having a say. You're not allowed to intervene in political campaigns, not even through the courts. You could sue if you're suing them for money. The objective of the case and the outcome is not hindering or preventing the campaign's progress, right? And when the police investigate it, they're meant to investigate it impartially and objectively look for things that have been done wrong. These people aren't even prosecuting privately, you know? And I'm not even too sure if you can prosecute privately. In England, you got to have these election petitions, and they have them after. And then, you know, if there's any votes that have been counted wrong or anything done wrong, it has to be all added up and then decided who actually did win, or if someone wasn't eligible to enter or whatever. It's actually... I can't say how he can't be eligible to enter when, you know, they've been through all these different commissions in these different states, you know. How did he even register? How's he even collected the petitions and registered to sign up, you know? If it wasn't... I think, right, that in a lot of these states where Kennedy is started collecting the signatures, he had to kind of register, and you have to kind of like register and all that. Surely at that point, if you're not allowed to do it, they shouldn't allow you to you know, carry on with it. You know, I think in Stop Cop City, they had to have all numbers and all the tickets, and it was really difficult to do. They had, for them even to go around and start collecting it all had to be kind of like filed and registered. I can't see how this New York government place has let him go and collect the signatures if it didn't comply in the first place. And this is the problem, because they're being challenged. Then he's not being challenged by, like, you know, the people who ran the thing. It's these independent litigants they've got coming in who are all affiliated with certain sides, which are not allowed to do, because you've got people who are they're not impartial, you know. So whoever designed this, whenever, I don't know when this was legislated. I'd be interested to know the exact person who wrote this, what date it was published and brought into force and effect. I think if you understand, what I think is that this, you know, this top ballot access lawyer, whose best advice was to RFK was that, oh, you're going to get sued anyway, no matter what you put on the thing. The guy who gave the worst advice in the world ever, right? The worst ballot access lawyer in the world. Because the best ballot access lawyer in the world would have either said, well, you know, you go a federal question and ask the question, what shall I put on the ballots, Your Honour? And then he would have told me. But what this ballot access lawyer was even saying is, he said that it doesn't matter what you put on there because you're going to get sued anyway. That means that he's effectively saying that no matter what you're going to do, someone's going to try to intervene in the campaign and try and fail you, which is what's not allowed in law. That's not allowed in law. You're not allowed to intervene and fail the campaign. You can sue them for money. Biden didn't even have sued them for money because he was, you know, refusing to give security. So it was like, you know, they were having to use funds. He might as well have been sued by someone. Someone might as well have sued him. But suing him isn't trying to stop him getting on the ballot. Right, that's a civil action which doesn't have an objective or goal to prevent his elective process. The elective process. Well, what these litigants in New York are doing, that they're trying to disrupt, hinder, block, obstruct, prevent, or fail the elective process, or try to find something that's done wrong with it. But it's not for them to, because it's for the police. When Kennedy registered, to see if he's doing anything wrong or not, or if he's committing fraud, and it's for individual private citizens. You know, if they signed something and they didn't want their signatures on there, then they say, right, you know, if this judge tells them to take the signature off there or whatever. But what they're actually trying to do is kind of like beat him through the courts. You're not allowed to do that because, look, to get into the court, you've got to have people who are organised, who in their minds are saying, right, let's go against Kennedy through the court, which you can't do that because you've got to submit the case. And to do that in respect to persons and organisations, not allowed to do it. Because at that point, it's absolutely prohibited to directly or indirectly intervening in a political campaign, because the court case is doing that directly. You see, a court case is directly stopping it, because the judge ends up saying, well, you're not on the ballot because, you didn't comply with these rules or regulations, right? Well, but how did he end up collecting the signatures? How did he end up collecting them? Because they wouldn't have let him collect them if he didn't qualify for it, surely. But that that's not in dispute, though. Well, it is with these litigants, but the litigants aren't impartial. What this is, right, is that, look, they're not impartial. They're citizens who are going to be for or against the campaign, right? Therefore, they're not allowed to act against the Kennedy campaign. Bringing the legal case against Kennedy campaign, which is the type of case which is going to stop him getting on the ballot, is not allowed. If they want to sue the campaign for some money, that's not stopping him getting on the ballot. If they want to report him to the police who are going to investigate if they think that he's broken the law and done a crime, right, then ring the police. But they haven't rung the police, have they? What they've done is they're wanting to bring a private suit, a civil action, as they're not impartial. They've got a side, they've got a political alignment, right? Which the council authority doesn't have a political alignment when it's running the election, right? This is the difference between these litigants, right? The litigants aren't impartial. The plaintiffs, the litigants, they aren't impartial when they decide to bring a case against Kennedy to stop the campaign. Now, the electoral commissions who run the petitions and count them and the elections are meant to be acting as an impartial body for the American people, right? So when they're checking the ballots and see if Kennedy qualifies, blah, 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 they are doing it impartially, like the police impartially investigating a crime, right? Supposedly. That's the main swing of it here. That's the balancing the difference, because the litigants aren't an impartial government body running the election, or supposedly meant to be. They're private persons, groups or organisations who might be for or against Kennedy, right? So when they bring the case through the court, they're actually opposing him, right? But the Electoral Commission who runs the whole thing, and the ballot access and the counting the petitions and that lot are meant to be impartial, right? When they check, impartial when he files, impartial when they check, impartial when they count, impartial when they see if he's followed the rules or not. Like the police, this other party, they've got a side. And they want the outcome, the particular case that they've brought, the outcome of that case, if they win, it is what it disallows on here. Now, if they were going to sue Kennedy for money, so you tricked me signing the ballot thing, I don't care if you take my signature off, it's, or you owe me some, money for it, compensation or whatever, that's not failing the campaign, Usually Americans want to sue people and get money, but in this instance, they're not after the money or they're after saying that, he broke some sort of rule or something, but it's not their place. It's not, they're out of order, they're out of their place in society. It's not for private citizens, organisations, companies, bodies to challenge electoral campaigns privately. That's meant to be the job of the commissions and the councils, impartially checking. That's the whole point. Because otherwise, it's kind of like, it's almost like private prosecution, you might just end up prosecuting people you don't like, or people you want to put in prison, kind of a little bit like they were doing with Trump, I suppose, in a way. And then you wouldn't be just going after criminals impartially. You might be going after certain groups, or we don't like, these South American immigrants, or, or everyone who owns a boat. Let's prosecute people who've got boats. That's the thing. There are all these employment rules. Councillors are meant to be, not have, are meant to be selfless. They've got to sign these documents now. Selfless. They're the ones who are checking if something's valid to enter, checking if something's valid to register, counting ballots, doing this or that, right? But these persons in junctioning with this case are an opponent whose objective is to fail, right? Now imagine if the people actually running the counting and that lot were impartial. Were on a side. Can you imagine? Those people are meant to be, they've got video cameras and they're watching. Everything's monitored now and watched to make sure that all the people counting the ballots aren't on one side or another or whatever. And these people who have challenged him on it, they might be affiliated with the Democrats. Says here that you're not allowed to be directly or indirectly, right? So that, if all those persons are actually, they are actually, Democrats and they are opposed to Kennedy, that they're indirectly involved as organisations, particularly that Clear Channel or Clearview place. So this is quite. What is the point in this? It's to prevent campaigns being intervened in, particularly by private entities who are not the impartial organisation running the thing. They're private persons intervening. Doesn't matter whether it's through a legal case. It's to do with what the objective is and what the intention and outcome is. It doesn't matter whether and that's the thing. Just because it's a court, they seem to think they've got legal authority. But what does the order do? And how do you bring the case if you don't have the intention of trying to win and prove something that would fail a campaign? It doesn't matter whether or not, it doesn't matter whether Kennedy's cheated or not. The government have got officials in place to deal with that. The government have got, the infrastructure in place to deal with that. But these litigants are coming privately. That's the difference. So you're not going to be allowed to do it. If he's committed a fraud or something, then ring New York NYPD. But they don't seem to have rung NYPD. This is actually supposed to prevent what's been actually happening. It also raises more questions around these Trump case and Hunter Biden and all as if like using a legal system. It's meant to be illegal, and definitely, they've definitely been organised by that Clear Choice or Clear Channel group, whatever. So if all you got to do is prove that they're connected or linked to them. I think that's what Kennedy was getting at, but he never is. He was definitely getting at that notion. So I think he knows what they're doing is illegal, but I don't think he pulled out 501(c), which makes it extremely clear. And definitely, if you've got a group of litigants, surely, and they're all sworn in on a legal case, giving evidence, you've got to be organised to do that. Surely, you've organised yourself as a body of persons, and surely there's got to be some tax dollars being used in that process, it's going to be and end up going to IRS or whatever at some point, what's been involved in that process of opposing a campaign, even through the courts, because you got to pay, you got our money over. I don't think all of it's completely and totally tax exempt, but the citizens are. The thing is, when a citizen acts in a political capacity to sign a petition or vote, that's not taxable. But they're suing over the election activities, which are meant to be in a special class of tax bands. So it's all activities in that sphere. But yet they're bringing bringing a private case. I mean, that in itself raises questions. So you're bringing a private legal case, right? And are you paying a lawyer tax for a case for matters of an election which is not taxed, right? That seems strange, doesn't it? In activities that aren't taxed, like signing a petition or going to vote, right? In activities which aren't taxed, you are annoyed with something which happened. So you enter a legal process where you are taxed to try and stop a process which is not taxed. That doesn't seem right to me either. That also seems odd and strange. Doesn't seem to fit to me. Seems rather strange that, because isn't it, if it's a process that is not taxed, right, like elections and voting and petitions, isn't that why the government investigate it? Because we pay for the government, because we've already paid our taxes for the police to investigate it, or for these people who are supposed to be counting the ballots, and counting the signatures, who are impartial. We've already paid for them to do all these things. So why would you be going out of your way in your own private time, with your own private money, with some organisation, and then paying a lawyer or something, tax money to our IRS for something like signing a petition or election, which is all paid for? It may be all paid for by the government, except, for donations, but that's different. People are giving donations, but the donations is under a different band as well, isn't it? So it's all mishmashed up, because what they're actually doing is they're bringing a case and getting involved in something that they're not meant to. It's not there. It's not for them to get involved in it, other than reporting it. Their duty as a citizen, right, starts and ends where if they see them doing something wrong, then they report it. That's what you do, because they've got government departments to deal with it. What they're doing is they're taking it into their own hands. And actually, what you find is, by taking it into their own hands, the reality of it is they're trying to stop them. They're trying to beat them, but using the courts. And that's exactly what RFK said. But he never brought up this 501c thing, which has got it's federal law. It's IRS. It's IRS federal law. I think Kennedy's solicitor was going on about the Fifth Amendment, or whatever it is. One of the amendments, it was going on about federal law under the amendments, which are a little harder to argue because they're more vague. But this is IRS, this is federal IRS law. It's explicit. It's completely and totally, absolutely explicit. This is not like some vague Bill of Rights that they've got in America. This is very, very explicit. Organizations, groups, even indirectly, clearly says that they're not allowed to act in ways that will electorally fail people, which, when they're wanting to take someone to court because if they win it's going to fail them, they're intending to do that and hopefully win. So it's you can't say that, because we're doing it through a court and it's all it's a federal court, we can do it. Well, no, you can't, because what is it that you're doing through the federal court? This is the thing. What is it that you are intending to try and do using the court to achieve your goals? It's almost kind of like saying, license to kill or something. It's like, if you do it through the court, it's all right, it's official. But well, no, because you paid your taxes, and that's why they've got people counting, ballot slips on a Tuesday at 5:00, because you paid for them with a tax. They check we've got people to check whether things are done properly or not. This is we pay people to do that job. It's almost like vigilante. It's almost kind of like being a vigilante or something like that. Like, taking the the law, police, like also some kind of bounty hunting or something like that, which this is meant to stop. Because you're not acting impartially, then, are you? In fact, bounty hunters are paid. They don't care what criminals they catch. They're doing it for the money. Even if the police hire bounty hunters, you see, the bounty hunter isn't doing it for a political objective. The bounty hunter is not doing it necessarily for a political objective, and he doesn't care who the criminals are. He just whoever pays him. If it's the police who pay him, or if it's a private person who pay him, he does it for money, for the money. And these scumbags who are prosecuting Kennedy, they aren't even doing it for the money. If they were doing it for the money, it would be something like a bounty hunter. They're worse than a bounty hunter. Even the bounty hunter is just doing it for the money. The bounty hunter is not doing it to get Kennedy. And what about that guy who broke into Kennedy's house? If that, he was probably trying to fail Kennedy's campaign, and he definitely had organised himself as well. Maybe he was a member of, maybe he was a Democrat. We checked out to find out what political party he is a member of, like that guy who shot Trump with his Republican. He's registered to a Republican organisation. He's indirectly, the guy who shot Trump is indirectly affiliated with a Republican organisation of which Trump is. And he certainly acted to try and prevent Trump's electoral success. That's for sure. And probably bought the gun, paid some tax money for that gun. Used a gun and ammunition and a rangefinder, which had been all paid to IRS, employed to the ends to try and fail Donald Trump's electoral success. And he's known to be not indirectly associated with Republicans. So, there's another one for you. That fits under this as well. It's not just crime. But these people aren't trying to take Kennedy out with a rifle. They're trying to take him out of a legal case, an illegal legal case, because you can't do it. Because in order to intend the outcome of the legal case, you're intending to intervene by using a legal case. It doesn't say what you can or can't intervene with here. Oh, it's a federal judge, so they must have the right to intervene. Well, no, because then you're getting the federal judge. You're actually getting a federal judge to intervene in Kennedy's electoral success and outcome. So you're actually employing the judge to an illegal objective. Well, what you're actually doing is you're employing and using a federal judge for an illegal, unlawful outcome. If you were just taking Kennedy's team to court to sue him for money, then you wouldn't be trying to intervene in the campaign, right? You'd just be trying to make yourself, make some money out of the Kennedy campaign, right? That's the difference in it. But, I don't, you got all these words, particular organisations, they're definitely working indirectly with an organisation, that's for sure, because they've named the organisation this Clearview Clear Channel place. They've named it, and that's known to be indirectly working with the Democrats. This is what this is for. I won't mind, but this does something. It's meant to stop all this. This is what this is for. This is what it's designed for. People. These people aren't fit to read it and understand what the point in it is. What is the point in this?